Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Ready Up podcast. I'm Niall. As always, I'll be your host, joined by Bobby and Ciaran. This week, we've collated some news throughout the week, so there's a lot going on. Essentially, what we're going to be doing for any new listeners is we give a rundown of what we've been up to, what we've been playing, followed by news of the week. Then we go on to the rumour mill and the rumours that have escalated throughout the week that we want to talk about. And then finally, we end it with our very first listener question this week. So things are changing. Yeah, so to get started, guys, let's just have a general talk, a bit more of a relaxed podcast. Anything new happening this week?
No, I've been hovering over the new PlayStation controller, the DualSense Edge. I don't know whether to pull the trigger or not.
Pardon the pun.
Yep. Yeah.
How much is it?
It's $220 or something like that there.
220? Like 2 dear, you mean?
It is. It's pricey, but so now I want you to convince me to buy it, and Ciaran, I want you to convince me not to buy it, and I'll judge.
We'll judge it by that. Do you have an Xbox One?
By that.
Your Xbox Lite controller?
No, it broke.
Okay. Did you use it much when you had an Xbox Lite controller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I use one. I usually use one back button.
One back
reload.
button?
I usually use one, and that's it, just for reload.
I feel like I'm on the wrong side here if you're using one of the buttons anyway. I don't know. Like, I would say if you're 220 quid's a lot as a steep. What are they prime for? Like, I'll be honest, I had a Lite controller and I fucking barely used it. I was given it when I worked in game, just kind of a freebie. And honestly, it sat there. I didn't use much of the back paddles, and I think I ended up selling it or trading it in.
eBay, probably.
Probably eBay, to be fair. And I'm burping away
It's,
here, guys.
So am I. It's one of them ones that I just kind of wanted to have because I've got a collection of controllers building up. That's just kind of been my thing recently. So I don't know. I want it just to have it.
Why not spunk 220 quid on a new mic that we were talking about, the Sheer mics? Bit of an upgrade for the pod.
I'm still going to do that anyway. That's a different fucking topic.
I've been reading into that, man. That's it, Ciaran.
Do you not only change your mic like last week, Bobby?
I got when did I get the Wave? A couple of weeks ago I got the Wave, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got it 3 weeks ago.
Tried to convince me to buy it, sure, and I'd only got the
that's what will happen. You'll eventually get this one, then we'll upgrade to the Shure.
Yeah. Just to try to get you on the new and better things. We're trying to make you skint by the way of things anyway. No, but the Shure, anyone listening, Shure's a podcast mic, but like Joe Rogan uses it. I think I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson recorded Thriller with it. So if you get it, Bobby, you may sing Thriller down the fucking mic this anyway. So I made a wee purchase, and I kind of wish I didn't. So I bought my new monitor. I went for the LG P850/B. From what I read, it's kind of the best 1440p monitor out there. Essentially, well, it's one of the best, just for the quality of screen. 180 hertz. Very nice, but that cost me £380, and then 2 days later, my cat got in a fight, hurt its paw, and I had to get it neutered, and it cost me 300 quid as well. So I'm fucking skint in the grand scheme of things. Bobby, that Dead Space may hold off. I'm telling you that. I'm only joking. I'm still going to get Dead Space. Well, here, I'll wait in the reviews on Dead Space. What about you, Ciaran? Anything new?
No, for me, mate, it's more just upgrading the setup that I have at the minute. I've been looking at sort of getting monitor holders and stuff like that rather than having everything condensed onto the table itself. Obviously I got the boom arm and stuff just to upgrade the speakers and stuff or the microphone that I have at the minute. So for me it's more cosmetic than actual hardware upgrades. But I'm looking at a few of the sort of dual screens and triple screen holders. So that's my part.
Brett has one of them. They're supposed to be really good. And I forgot as well. I got the Elgato low profile arm. This is the first time using it. It's very nice. Very dear, but it's very nice. See anyone listening to this? Go ahead.
The pop filter for the Elgato.
I was going to say, I don't want to bore people with mic talk, but then we ended up boring everyone with mic talk. Could you imagine listening to a gaming podcast and they spent the first 5 minutes talking about PCs and mics when most of them are probably playing consoles? This is ridiculous. I'm sorry about that, guys. If you do have a console, maybe get a PC. Maybe.
All education, but
yeah. Anyway, these two boys are new to PC anyway, roughly. Well, Bob, you've had a PC for a while. So moving on, I'm actually letting you go first. Ciaran, you've been playing a game that I told you to play, and you've said a few things that frustrated me, and I kind of want to delve in deeper on it, especially on the podcast for anyone to hear. So, Ciaran, what have you been playing this week in
What
general?
have I been playing? Oh,
Apart from
it's been
yourself.
fantastic. Well, apart from that, mate. So everyone needs to be sitting down from last week to this week. Total difference. I have finished, obviously, Crisis Core Reunion. Said it was about 3/4 of the way through it. And I've actually moved myself on to Uncharted.
3 games in 1 week. You've
3
condensed
games completed in 1
You've
week.
condensed 3 years into 1 week. 3 years of gaming.
That's it. It literally is 2 games in 18 months to 3 games in a week. But I have to say, I actually spoke about Crisis Core last week. I'll not get into it too much again. Fun, finished up as I'd expect. So yeah, it's been great so far. Story elements, absolutely fantastic. It's actually gripped me in to go, I'll play a wee bit more. I'll do a wee bit more. I'll do the next chapter, and you end up completing the game, sitting up to 3:30 this morning just to finish the game. So, gameplay is good. I have a few gripes with it, and I think this is where you're probably going to come in. The mechanics seem to sort of lost me a wee bit. I don't know how many times I lost to death to jumping off the side of a building that I didn't mean to jump off or fall off, and the frustrations kicked in. And then at some points I felt like I was going back to playing Call of Duty Black Ops and World at War. To be fair, it was knocked out or totem or whatever it's called. It just threw me completely because it came out of nowhere and threw you into this, and it was like, where has this went? But then I came back and went, fair enough, look, we'll overlook that. But that's where the sort of frustrations come in for me. Like, you're enjoying this game, then it threw me a wee bit.
Yeah, the thing with the old Uncharted's and very much a bit of platforming, shooting arena, platforming, shooting arena. You were frustrated though on the story. Now, not to spoil a game that's
I don't.
15 years old.
Because I'm going to be playing it soon.
Don't be spoiling too much, but you were saying, and I'm going to quote, the supernatural elements annoyed you.
Aye.
Okay. Why?
Because you're sitting there enjoying the game, killing characters.
Killing characters?
Killing characters. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, killing the bad guys.
Yeah, kill the bad guys.
Killing the bad guys. And then all of a sudden the story takes this dark turn. And you're sort of like, where does that came from? I appreciate I know where it came from. But it was sort of like, this has got a wee bit far-fetched, I think is the word that I used. It was like, it just completely came out blindsided me, and it turned into something that I didn't expect, and then sort of caught up with itself again. And the same, that's 1 and 2 done that to me, so I don't know what the rest of them have in store.
Yeah. So look, see with Uncharted, and this is kind of what I would say, right? You're talking 360 PS3 era, so games really up until, like, you think like even GTA didn't have much supernatural elements, but they didn't take themselves too serious, right? So you think the first game to really start taking itself serious, probably like The Last of Us and things like that. People are probably in the comments or whatever be listening to this thinking that's not true, but in terms of supernatural elements, those games that if you go around that decade, like think of another game that has a serious tone but doesn't introduce something stupid or silly. So think about the 360, the type of games that you played in the 360 that you enjoyed. Did any of them have something where you're not killing monsters? You think about Gears, that time frame. You think about Halo.
But I suppose the way that was set up is from start to finish, it was like that. It wasn't anything clean out of the blue.
So your problem, I think, is it because that Uncharted sets up the kind of real world scenario and then it brings in the monsters?
100%. Tomb Raider done something similar.
Yeah. It's because it's going to get boring fighting NPCs. It does change on later. Uncharted, what I would say is, look, it's just a sign of the times. You know, you're playing fucking things in PS3 generation. They all kind of went a bit fucking silly and stupid. They weren't taking themselves serious. It's a pulp fiction, kind of pulp action runabout things. They should even look at fucking the first Indiana Jones, the Lost Covenant or the Lost Ark, whatever, opens up and everyone's fucking starts melting and all. What I'll say though, see Uncharted, especially the first 3, don't worry about the story. It's more about the characters. You'll get bought in and you'll enjoy the characters. The characters actually they bring the story along. Whereas sometimes you can have a good story, but the characters are shit and you don't really care. You know what I mean? So with Nathan Drake and all them, mate, that's what will carry on the early games, that when you go to Uncharted 4, it pays off. So I'm glad you're actually going back. I think it'll do a lot better. See, once it's kind of the reminisce with me and DMC. once you kind of go from one to the next one to the next one, those improvements, you'll appreciate them a lot more rather than going and playing 4 and then going, oh, what the fuck's this? I think you'll like it. I think 3's very good. It's still a bit more fantastical, but then once you play 4, mate, you'll just see, and then you'll be a wee pony like all the rest of us and pony up, and you'll be pronouncing the death of fucking Microsoft. Yeah.
Xbox to CEX.
So what's next? 2's beat. Are you going to go straight on to 3?
I'm cut between 2, and I suppose I'll talk a wee bit more into this later on in the show itself, but I probably will go into 3, but there's another game sitting in the wings.
What is it?
We'll talk about that one. It's going to be The Last of Us. It's sitting there. I just don't know whether to change it up a wee bit in case I end up getting bored of the game and going, I'm not continuing. Change it up a wee bit and then go back and finish it up. Or
I think, dude,
keep playing through.
You will get fatigue. Bear in mind, I've just like I said, DMC, fuck me, I'm feeling it. But Uncharted's, I would say, it's probably a lot more enjoyable to go through than DMC at this stage. Why don't you do Uncharted 3, do it in release order, Uncharted 3, then The Last of Us, and then Uncharted 4. Because if you do Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, and then you go to The Last of Us, the gameplay does take a step back after Uncharted 4, so do it in the release order. Be much better.
Aye, well, may as well.
There you are, you're told.
Look at that.
Were you playing on easy, by the way?
Mate, it didn't even go on easy. I went and explore. I didn't say easy. I went explore.
The reason I would say that,
I still died.
oh, fuck me, Jesus Christ! No wonder it takes you fucking 3 years to beat a game.
Admit that's it.
But you see those games, I don't play them because I like the shooting elements. They literally frustrate me. And Last of Us is the same. There's nothing more. Like, I know people play The Last of Us or Bobby, and they're like, oh, I like the survival thing and crafting. I fucking hate that. I was like, just give me the story. Same with God of War. I'll be honest. If this game is built to be hard, like Sekiro or Dark Souls, then I'll play it on the normal, like obviously I'll just play it because it's built that way. But playing a game on hard, and what they do is they go, oh, I'll give him more health and he's a bullet sponge and you have less health. It's just not fun.
No.
Yeah. Bobby?
I'd agree.
Bobby's been beating some hard bosses this week. Talk about it, what?
So I beat Sifu. I think it was one boss in last week.
Mm-hmm.
I beat it, and I actually went back and beat it again to get the true ending.
What do you mean you went back and beat it again?
So you beat it, you kill obviously there's 5 levels, there's 5 bosses. You have to beat it, all in the 70-year cycle of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they have you've played it. They've got the structure system. We had to break the structure.
Yeah.
To actually do damage to them. So the way you have to go back and you have to spur each boss. And the way you do it is you have to break the structure twice, and then it gives you an option to spur them.
Right.
You have to go back, go through all the levels again, and spur each boss, and then that gives you the option to finally spur the final boss, and that's the true ending of the game.
Fair play to you. I'm actually surprised. Just because you're a wee Elden rig, terrified of it, and then using your easy mode. Always like
Really enjoyed it.
And it is a great game, isn't it, mate?
You know what? I was struggling at the start of it, getting the parry system right.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get that right, and then you actually start looking at the combos and doing the combos, it just kind of flows, and it's just like butter going through it.
I told you that they could say it's very similar to Sekiro. There's a boss, and I remember when Sekiro came out, there was a boss that is midpoint through the game, and it literally it's strange because it's the kind of boss. It's like you have to understand the actual system, or you'll not beat him. And I was there for 2 nights on fucking Sekiro, and everyone was stuck on him yet. Anyone listening to this, if you are listening, it's the boss at the top of a fucking building. I forget his name, but fuck me. But that's good. But you'll have much more appreciation from that game because you've gotten better at it and you've learned all this, and then you can fucking put it in practice. I bet you can play that. See if you took a video, mate, of you running through that at the start versus Sekiro 2 weeks on, or sorry, fucking what do you call it? Sifu 2 weeks on. It'd be my night and day. You'd be able to run past that.
I was literally like, they were all coming at me from different angles. I was blocking, and then it was throwing them against each other into the piles and everything. It was class. It's just getting the parry system right and actually using the combos. And once you get all that together and you unlock so there's these unlocks you go through, you can get each level. You have to unlock them 5 times on the same run to unlock them permanently. See, once you start unlocking all the good ones and then start using them together in combos, like just something simple like kicking a bottle see a battle, or being able to unlock the thing where you just catch something if someone throws it at you and you quickly throw it back, that stuns them. All that kind of stuff just blend together like that. It's so good.
Throwing a bottle at people is really fun, isn't it?
And it's so satisfying because you just hear everything shatter and you feel it in the dual sense.
We should just go out on Friday night and start bottling people around the main street. You start kicking the cunt out of people because you watch played Sifu.
I'm gonna go for the platinum.
Fair play to you, mate.
I've done all the hard bits.
Yeah.
The last kind of bits I have to do is the kind of Metrovania style, where you have to go. You get certain like kind of collectibles in each level, and it unlocks maybe certain things on different levels.
Oh, I've seen that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like on level 5, I'm missing one from level 1, and I have to get it on level 5. I have to find this certain bit, and then that unlocks a certain section on the first level. So it's kind of things I got there. It's just clean up sort of trophies I've left to do.
Do you know what their last game was?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
I never played it, but it has a pretty good following because I remember when Sifu came out, people were like talking about it and said the combat was good. Solver, Denny's hear about that game?
Yes,
that was them. I wonder what they're going to do next because I've always had good success with Sifu. You know, people are saying about Game of the Year.
There could be a Sifu 2.
Sifu?
There could be. Could be a sequel.
It is very good.
I'd like to see a sequel. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic.
You can tell they're inspired a lot by Dark Souls, like, and just From Software, just the way the level design was, with the shortcuts and shit.
Yeah.
Brilliant game. Ciaran, are you going to give it a go?
I'll get around it. This seems to be the way of it now. I seem to come into this podcast and then all of a sudden I'm inspired to game and complete.
Take Bobby Dark Souls.
See when you actually
I'm not coming back to Dark Souls.
See the fourth boss near broke me. It was fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
But see when you actually do, you get the satisfaction of beating them and then going back again and then just kicking their ass completely. So good.
But that's what Dark Souls does to you. That's what I mean. These type of games, I love them. It's addiction. I remember playing these. It was Dark Souls at the time, and people in work were like saying, "Oh, keep playing it." I was like, "No, it's shit. It's too hard." And then it just clicked one day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I got good. Get good." No, Kim, what's the hardest game you've ever beat?
Simpsons Hit and Run, mate.
Oh my god, what is the hardest game you ever beat?
What game have you ever beat?
The hardest? Oh jeez.
Do you know what? I'll have to think about it. I wouldn't know offhand, but I'll actually think about it and then I'll come back to you.
See if you're listening to this, right? I want to take a listener question. I want people to think of the hardest game they've ever played, and what we'll do is we'll get Ciaran to play it, stream it, record it, and its goal is to actually beat it. So I'm going to say Dark Souls with bongo drums from the fucking the Donkey Kong fucking GameCube game. No, that's good. Bobby, what are you playing?
Game, so.
Yeah. You any questions to ask Bobby about Sifu before we move on?
No, because he seems to have covered off, obviously, all the mechanics and stuff of it. From last week and this week, from what you've been talking about, it's took me interest. It's actually one of those ones where you've loaded up on the store and you have a wee look at it and you have a wee look at the screenshots, so there'll be seeds being planted. But
what I'll say is you like Vampire Survivors. Now I know it's a completely different game, but it's that kind of thing where you die and then you keep coming back and you do a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, and then all of a sudden you're flying through it. So if you like that kind of thing, you will take to it.
What's next for you, Bobby? Because of me and Bobby game share now on PS5, sorry, and he's downloaded about 5 games today. I've seen Dark Souls 1, I've seen Dark Souls 3, and what else? Last of Us Part 1. So with Bobby, you never know what the fuck he's going to play. He'll probably play something random on fucking PC. What are you going to play?
No, I started Dark Souls there. Right. I beat the Taurus boss, got past the wee metal pig thing.
1 second. You've been playing Dark Souls today?
Yeah.
What are you using magic?
No, I'm a knight.
Right.
You cheeky bastard.
See, that's what I mean with Dark Souls, mate. See with Dark Souls, and you do the different builds. Dexterity build. You go for lighter equip load. You're fast. You're nimble. You just wreck people with a big katana. Are you having fun with it? You enjoying it, Bobby?
I don't know.
You just give it time, right?
I'm gonna at least get to the bit where I got before in the last playthrough.
Where did you get to?
How I go, but I can't remember. I got past all the. I went underground somewhere in like a foresty area, maybe. I'm
gonna say this, and people might listen and might crack up. Don't use a guide, but use like a area guide of progression. Like it'll tell you where to go and kind of go to this area.
Just winging it.
Yeah.
Back then, it's like so.
Because the way Dark Souls work is you can go to a graveyard at the very start and there's skeletons that will literally knock your bollocks in if you go down there, whereas you can go up where you're supposed to on the berg. I think you've set yourself on this path that you have to play it now, and you can't back out or you're a shady cunt.
Don't know whether I'm going to play it consistently or it might be something to jump into maybe every week for a couple of hours and just kind of beat it that way.
You will never beat it. You'll like Dark Souls, trust me. It's my favorite game, probably. It's up there, top 5. So you're going to do Dark Souls, and so what's the other one that you're thinking about?
Well, I've actually started The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, how far did you get in that?
I got past the first bit. It was literally just before the show.
Initial impression?
It wasn't worth £70.
Well, you didn't. Gonna say he didn't spend the £70. I didn't buy
it. I got it off his. I was the smart one, didn't buy it. But no, I mean it looks good and stuff. But I played the remastered version. I think just before
2
came out, and it was fine. I didn't think I needed it, but like I said, I think I said last week, it's because of the show coming out, and look, it's got me playing it again.
So to say this, I think there is a time frame in playing games when it makes sense to replay a game, and it turns out that it's 4 years. Okay, so I can play a game right now from about 2018, and I will have forgotten a good bit of it, or not a good bit, but loads of parts, and it makes sense. I played through the part 1 of Last of Us 2 years after playing the remaster, like yourself, and I just remembered everything. I was like, this is not enjoyable. It looks how I remember it looking, but it didn't look like this. I remember it looks like Last of Us 2, and I just wasted £70. It's probably the worst £70 I've ever spent. For most people, it's great purchase. But for me, having played that, I was like, oh no, what have I done? So no.
Like first time playing it, 100%, I recommend buying that one. You know, if you've never played it before, but for someone that maybe like us that's played it back in 2020, wasn't worth the £70. But it's got me interested because of the show, so I'm kind of going to play along with the show.
Well, fuck yeah, I put it on easy and I started skipping the puzzles with the accessibility feature, and I was like, beat it in about 4 hours. I was like, okay, we're moving on.
Fucking the water ones.
Oh yeah, Ellie can't swim. Yeah. Well, no, but myself, I have finished Devil May Cry 4. Can I just say that really was a slog towards the end. It wasn't a long game at all, but what basically happens is Devil May Cry, I don't even say this before, it's mission based. So you have one mission, then it moves on to the next mission, and so on and so on. So I believe Devil May Cry 4 has 20 or 21 missions. So the first 10 missions you're kind of running through as Nero. He is a character, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he's not usually who you play as. So you run through the first 10 missions with him, bang, bang, boom, and then you play the next 10 as Dante, who is the character in other Devil May Cry games. The problem is, you are running back through the areas from the first 10 missions, so it is a complete slog. They didn't, from what I read, they ran out of development time, and there wasn't enough resources. But fuck me, I can see why people maybe didn't like Devil May Cry 4 as much, and kind of why Capcom maybe rebooted it, because it doesn't hold up a candle to number 3. So I beat that. Ciaran, you were saying about Devil May Cry to me. You had started it as well, but you ditched that notion.
Aye. Again, I think I got one chapter in, and I think the problem is I wasn't in the mood for a hack and slash style game. You have to be in the mood for a hack and slash style game where you don't necessarily have to pay attention to the story, but you just beat your way through it. But I think I was playing something else at the time. Can't even remember what it was. But I downloaded it again. I have it there to do just because they're short games. It's another one off a list to say that I've done. But no, it's not. It just wasn't for me at the time, and I think it's more the mindset that you're in, as you always talk about.
Don't get the piss taken me out this time, but yes, your mood set is actually what I meant, because see, last year, Bobby, I talked to you about this, Ciaran, but I'll tell people in the podcast. Last year, I had bought my Switch, and it must be about the fucking 7th Switch I bought, but it was some Switch OLED. So I went into the mood where it's like, I'm going to play a game, and I'm not going to move on until I finish that game. And I think I'd done like Donkey Kong, Metroid. I'd done about 6 games, but it got to like the games getting longer. Now that's okay if the game's 8 hours, but see, once you hit like a 30-hour game, there's literally no point. So the problem is though, Ciaran, if you do that, you're going to always change your mood, so you'll never finish anything. So you kind of have to, like, I'm going to have to finish the next game that I'm going to talk about in a second.
But that's literally what I've been doing. See, once you recommend a game to me, first thing I do, Google, how long does it take to beat?
Yeah. work your way through.
It wasn't long.
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
I fucking love these 8 to 10 hour games. That's what I want. Just yes, because you're just moving on. You feel a sense of progression anyway from clearing out your backlog. But I'm going to talk about what I'm playing now, and then I'm going to mention, because I wrote down my new game list for 2023 that's already fucking huge without mentioning any new games. So, beat Devil May Cry 4. I'm about halfway through Devil May Cry 5. Bobby, you were debating getting this? Okay. So it's gorgeous. 120 FPS, Resident Evil engine. I think it's called it's the Resi engine, isn't it? That's called. So it's what they're using in... Yeah, go ahead.
Engine, yeah.
No, I was just going to say I was debating getting it, but it's coming out here on Tuesday. And
that's right.
PS Plus.
Yeah, the RE engine. So what did the RE engine was used for 7. And then what they've done is they used it for 2 remake, and then they've obviously used it going forward. So it's very kind of a first hit engine. It's gorgeous. Like, the game is absolutely phenomenal. You go to Devil May Cry 4 from free and it looks good. And then you go to obviously Devil May Cry 5 and you're like, fuck me. You can tell it's been 11 years since they kind of made the last one, because the graphics are just out of this world. And you actually forget how far graphics have come. But what's missing is what Devil May Cry 3 had. And it's hard to put your finger on it, but they definitely don't make games like they used to. They just try and... Now, it is a gamey game, but Devil May Cry 3, even though I only played it 2 weeks ago, I was nostalgic for it, if that makes sense, because it's that style of game. It's a very PS2 era. So yeah, I've wrote a few notes. The gameplay is fantastic. So the combat is top notch. I cannot talk bad about it. So it's definitely improved on. 3, 4 to 5, they're iterative on each other. 3 is still fantastic. So I actually think if I beat 5, the one that I would go back to time and time again would be 3. So it's a fantastic game. And to be fair, a lot of the fan base would say that. Now, I'm 10 missions in. There's 10 more to play. So it might change. The areas are fucking shocking. So Devil May Cry 3, you're in a big tower going up. It's all gothic. Devil May Cry 1, you're in a castle. Devil May Cry 4, you're in like this religious city. It's all kind of weird. And then you go to a castle. Devil May Cry 5, it feels like you're in fucking New York City kind of thing. And you're just, it's open world kind of, well, not open world. It's like kind of big open areas, very bland setting. I prefer the gothic settings. So if you're going to give this a go, Bobby, I would like to see your thoughts. I reckon if I started this without the other ones, I would have quit it. Would have been a fan. And it's funny because everyone who is a DMC fan would probably argue that point. You play as 3 characters. You play as Dante, you play as Nero, and then there's another character called Fee who is absolutely horrendous. He's basically like a Marilyn Manson goth. His combat is passive, so you control a bird and like a lion kind of thing, or jaguar, and you stand back, you press X and Y or triangle and square, and they attack for you, and you dodge things to get out of getting hit. How bad does that sound? Does that make sense? Literally think about this. So you as a character, you're watching your character play, you control this guy, you press triangle square, and you see enemies. Well, they look like enemies, but they're your AI partners attack for you. That is the gameplay for that.
You just stand there?
You're just walking around, pressing triangle, and they're fighting in the far distance. I honestly don't get it. I don't know how anyone who finds that fun. Give me a sword, let me just whack hunts. I didn't want to sit and run about. And you can read a book to do these different spells and Devil Trigger. It is, to me right now, I would rate it as like a 7 out of 10 game. People are praising it. I might change my mind. I should have beat it by tonight, but we've been busy over the weekend, so I'll finish it next week. Moving on, what I'm going to try. If you any, I know you seem very interested in this, guy. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask. Although it's been the 3rd week and multiple podcasts and me talking about fucking Devil May Cry, even I'm fed up with it.
I want to play them, but I don't think I have it in me to do all of them. That's my problem.
Yeah. They're not long, but I think it's like 40 odd hours I've spent on them all. It's just I would say play 3 at least if you're going to play them. So I've written down games to beat. So DMC 1, 3 and 4 beat. DMC 5 next. I've written down Dragon's Dogma, Dead Space, Ori 2. I think that's Will of the Wisps, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I beat Ori in the Blind Forest last year. I thought it was floaty as hell. Not a very good Metroidvania. I know people loved it. Hogwarts. And this is one that I have sitting in my backlog and I bought and I didn't even play. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Good.
Okay. I will talk to you guys about this. Sunset Overdrive on PC. We Insomniac game, guys. Ratchet PS5. I bought that. Bobby, you try to give it a go yet?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I will.
Do you know what though?
Yeah.
It's actually, I was looking through the catalogue and I actually looked at it. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, but I love wee platforming games like that. And as said there, you're talking about Ratchet and Clank, I'm assuming there when you say Ratchet.
Yeah, it's more combat though. It's more than like a shootery kind of.
Play the 2016 one. I think it's on PS Plus.
It's I love wee games like that. Like you're sort of. So.
Another one, guys. Bobby, you should play this because I have it downloaded and it's well regarded. Shadow of the Colossus, the Blue Point remake. Played a bit of it. Have it there. It's fantastic. The music in it's amazing. Then obviously used to recommended Rise on PC.
Yeah.
Sifu. Crisis Core, which I might blast next because I do have it sitting there, but I still need to get back to Dragon's Dogma. And then Infamous Second Son, sorry. And then Crash 4. That's not mentioning any games coming out, plus the PSVR 2. So that's what I'm going to try aim for as a backlog, and we'll see how I do. But other than that, guys, that's what I'm doing next.
I can't wait till you try Crash 4.
Is it good?
It's hard.
That's good. That's what
it's really good. It is really good, but see, towards the end, it gets really fucking tricky.
Yeah.
But I beat it, like, it's really enjoyable. It's a good sequel.
Yeah, who made that? Toys for Bob? Toys for Bob? What did they do before? Were they not Skylanders?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
There you are. Wee bit of
Skylanders was a good game though.
Never
I played it
touched
with the kids.
God.
It's one of those wee ones where do you ever get bought into like a TV show that you don't ever think you'd get bought into? It's terrible, but it's one of those ones you go, I'm actually enjoying this.
Grey's
It's a
Anatomy.
game like that.
It's one of them games that Activision just ripped the arse out of a game, selling all the wee figures for it, and that ruined it.
So I worked the game, obviously. We traded those in. They were hell.
Yeah.
Those and the fucking Activision Guitar Hero peripherals and things. Jesus Christ.
Another game they ruined.
Yeah, so next up, we'll move on to the weekly news. So I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 items on the list. Okay. Bobby didn't add any more that he said he had, I don't believe, just to the rumor.
You pretty much covered most of the stuff
I'm moving ahead
throughout the week, so
yeah. Almost 90% of all games sold in the UK in 2022 were digital. Digital sales accounted for almost 9 out of every 10 games sold in the UK in 2022, according to a trade body. The Digital Entertainment and Retail Association, ERA, said 89.5% of games sold had been digital downloads and the remaining 10.5% actual physical copies. Bobby, talk to me.
yes. I think it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
More and more people are moving to digital, myself included. Same with you with the PS5.
Yeah.
The market still has. There's still going to be people that's going to be buying physical for like the likes of collectors and stuff. But see, even a lot of the collectors editions now are coming with a digital code.
Yeah.
Rather than I think the God of War one came with a steelbook, but it came with the code instead of the disc.
Interesting.
So like,
actually, yeah.
It's near enough like the games, the game developers are pushing you to even go digital themselves, even with the collector's editions.
But sure, look what Modern Warfare 2 done there, sure as well. Sure, what was it? The disc came with 72 megabyte of data on it. The rest of it was downloaded. So what's the point?
Well, you just have to think, even if you have something like, let's say, a retailer, you're paying them, I believe it's 20% off the sale. So even when I worked the game, we bought a game, we were getting 20% discount. So we got them a cost price, basically. You're just saving that money if people buy it off the store, especially if you're PlayStation, for example. Do you know what I mean? It's just profit at that stage. You don't have to print the copies. You don't have to ship them. There's a lot of just shite you don't have to deal with. It just makes sense. Now, I wrote a few notes myself. So one of the reasons I left the game is I knew the time's going to be up here soon. There's only so long that people are going to buy physical discs. And I know that when I worked the game, we were looking to move towards digital. There was talk of us doing digital. They were at least looking at it, I remember. And this actually, I believe, may have went into the PS4 generation. And I might be wrong in this. I'm trying to go off memory. Something about used digital games. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I'm not actually.
Xbox we're looking into that. Xbox we're looking into doing something like that.
Yeah, I remember when regional manager came in and started talking about that. This is something that we can look at in the future. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that sounds horrendous. I don't even know how it would work. It doesn't make any sense at all.
But I think on the console side of things, it will work by you're selling when you buy a game, you're essentially buying the license.
Yeah, I
So
actually wrote that down. Yeah, you bought
So
the
yeah,
license.
so you would be selling the license back pretty much, so you can't access that game anymore. I don't know what way they would buy it off you, but obviously they would buy it off and then but how would you resell a used digital game?
You lose your
That's the thing.
license. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense at all, and it doesn't.
So look, 'cause it would help. It would help the likes of us sell like that Last of Us game. Right, I've played it. It wasn't worth it. I'll sell it back here for 40 quid. But then nobody can buy that again. They're going to be buying the license again for the full price essentially because they couldn't sell you a license for, you know, less of the price if you get me.
Yeah.
But they could buy it off you. So it's weird. I think that's why it hasn't actually happened yet because they just haven't figured it out.
But surely if that was the case, if you had the license and then you're trading the license or selling it that way, surely we just do that with every game apart from a new game. Doesn't make any sense. Physically, I don't know how you would even do that.
Unless they can give you money back, unless they give you store credit. Because if they give you money back, I mean, we could go back and refund fucking hundreds of games like and be sitting loaded. So they would probably have to give you some kind of store credit.
Those
in the Microsoft store.
Those retailers, yeah. Well, those retailers are hemorrhaging money. Like obviously, I was in one of the biggest store in Northern Ireland at the time. No one would even come. Like, yes, see, Christmas time was absolutely mental. Throughout the year, though, like you would be getting very little footfall. I don't even know how some of those places are staying open. But retail in general is down. I just think this is just logical, where people are just going to move on, getting digital. PC, I've been in it for a while. Bought the digital console. Do I regret getting a digital console? In a way, because I would just buy a game and sell it. It makes more sense that way. But with game sharing especially, they must be losing some money on game sharing. Do you think that'll be clamped down at any stage? The console sharing the way we do it, Bobby?
I don't think so. I think maybe Sony would have been the ones to clap down on it. It's not Xbox, but Xbox are actually bringing out the family Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's essentially letting you have it paying a wee bit extra and you're getting 5 consoles that's sharing Game Pass.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's going to suit me because I've got 4 kids here. So
how much are you spending on Game Pass every week? Or a month, sorry.
Share it between them. So 3 subscriptions.
Bobby Big Bucks.
That'll be condensed into one payment, let's say £25, whatever it's meant to be. I think it's €25 down south at the minute.
Wow.
So they're testing it in Ireland and Colombia. And it's been leaked there on the Americas.
Yeah, you had sent that to me.
The store. So
no, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I would say, and there's actually a rumor that I want to talk about that seems pretty likely of happening. And it's a bit of a stupid rumor in the grand scheme of things, but I think it'll happen. But it'll actually push it more towards digital. And look yourself, Series S last week you were talking about. Series S is fucking, how many people are getting Game Pass now, and how many people are
perfect for the kids.
Yeah.
Netflix.
And even someone that maybe doesn't have, a lot of money to go and blow, but 250 quid, £10 a month, that's them sorted.
Totally makes sense. So yeah, to be fair, I like having digital games. Like I like have physical games. Like I actually used to collect PS3 ones and all this here and so on, but it's not as good as you remember.
The only thing I'm enjoying about not having physical anymore is I would have always traded them in and then I would always got the notion again to play them. Yeah. Now that I'm buying them digitally, I always have them.
Yeah.
So you're missing out on that kind of factor by trading them in and getting money and buying something else, but at least you don't have the I want to play that again. And then you have to go out and physically buy it again.
There's nothing worse than doing that though. When you go out and like Call of Duty there, even Modern Warfare 2, I got it on the Xbox and then got the PlayStation and got 47 quid or something store credit. It's down to something like 30 now within a space of about 3-4 weeks.
Fluctuate, it's just up and down all the time.
I would rather digital personally. I actually think it's good that it's going that way. I think it's a far better option. I think it's more feasible, definitely.
For a lot of people, like physical is the only option for them. The whole trading in and getting money back towards something else is the only way they can play new games.
Yeah. But then you have the things like Game Pass and PlayStation Extra that are probably nullifying the people who can't afford the latest and greatest. So it does make sense in that. Now, they kind of go off a beat topic slightly. On our other podcast that we had done, I talked about me watching One Tree Hill. Now, funny story, but I had bought that 5 years ago on DVD and had got a wee notion of watching it. Now, it was on ITVX, like all of them. And I started watching them, but they had ads. So I actually paid for ITVX, and it's like, oh, you still have to have ads on this program for legal rights. And I was like, you know what? I have the only DVD drive I have in this house is in that bloody Xbox I just bought. I'm going to watch the DVDs. fuck me, does it get tedious switching discs anyway. But it's something nice about putting a disc in a console. And my mates were like, why do you just watch it digitally? Like, even though there's ads, like, no, it's like putting the disc in, just getting into that. But it's all nostalgia, mate. Like, it is collectors and things like that. But yeah, I think it'll definitely be pushed going digital. Any other thoughts, guys?
The only other thing that I had on this was obviously 30% of it was actually mobile app download. It wasn't necessarily just consoles and PC. So it actually made up a huge proportion, and it actually got me thinking. Mobile apps are becoming more and more prominent, and then you talk about obviously digital going 90%. How much of it do you actually think was impacted by COVID and the pandemic?
Massively.
People have now they've actually just got into the way of not going to the shops, and it's all now I'll just buy it off the store.
Of course, you had people who wouldn't have bought online because they were terrified of it, didn't trust it, and then they did it once, and they've gotten the suck the devil's teat, and now they're all downloading things. I'm sure we got a lot of people sailing the high seas as well, fucking torrents galore. Yeah. Before we move on to item 2, guys, anyone have any last pieces they wish they had on that?
No, I think it's pretty much covered.
You think we missed out anything? Email at the readyuppod@gmail.com, and we can discuss your question next week or your thoughts. Item 2 on the list, Hitman 3 to become World of Assassination. IOI shared an update detailing how players, both existing and new, will experience, access and purchase its recent Hitman trilogy as of later this month. It was a short update consisting of 2 main points. Hitman 3 will become Hitman World of Assassination, which will also include access to Hitman 1 and 2 through our existing Access Pass system. Current Hitman 3 owners will get a free upgrade to the World of Assassination on all platforms. And then they also said, we're drastically simplifying the purchase experience for new players. Hitman World of Assassination will be the single available option to start playing. Ciaran, what's your thoughts?
Again, going off the back of the last point, streamlining is definitely the way things need to be done. Hitman, not a game that I've necessarily get into, but something that I've actually looked at and thought about getting into. Putting it together is definitely a good thing to do. And obviously bringing it in with the likes of the expansions and stuff as well. They did obviously talk about streamlining, not just being in the online side with PC and Xbox and stuff. They even said in stores and shop fronts, it's all going to be streamlined as well. So I think it's a good unified approach. I think a lot of games could probably benefit off that if you go and look at the likes of the Master Chief Collection and stuff like that. Maybe it didn't start off well, but actually condensing things together, bringing stuff together, better value for money. What is it? The standard price is about $70, I think it was noted as.
Not sure.
Just from what I was reading, about $70. So the fact that you're getting everything in one place is, I think, a good thing.
Good thing we're in the UK.
Haven't said anything about UK prices now.
I know. What about you, Bobby?
Yeah, I think it's great. There was a bit of confusion before about the whole you can play Hitman 1 and 2 within
I'll get into
Hitman
that.
3.
Yeah, there's a fucking.
So
it's a faff.
I think it makes sense because if someone wants or picks up Hitman 3 and maybe goes and buys Hitman 1 and 2, the best way to play is actually to play them through Hitman 3. You're getting all the updated, the updated graphics and stuff like that there. So it makes sense. It simplifies it for everybody else.
So basically what they've done, 2016, they released Hitman. I don't know if you guys recall this, but it was episodic fucking square. And I remember because it was the Paris, it was the first training level, then Paris. And I am a huge Hitman fan. Growing up, I played Hitman 2 and Contracts and Blood Money. Fantastic games. If anyone's listening to this and they haven't played it, I would just give it a go. Absolute chaos ensues. Just having to kill someone, and you can literally do tons of different things. So I have had a wee brush with Hitman recently when I got the PS5. Bought Hitman 3. Haven't played it. But what I did do was I brought the Hitman 1 and 2 levels into it. And can I just say, it was an absolute fucking faff. You bought them and importing them, there was different prices. It was just an absolute mess. So I think this, if you're getting Hitman free, this is a perfect way of doing it. The reason being, see with Hitman 1 and 2 and 3, there was graphical updates, but they're more just continuation of levels. So it's kind of like it should be all one package anyway. So this is kind of long overdue. it's good for someone like yourselves. If like, you know, you feel like you missed out and you want to give Hitman a go, give it a blast. So Ciaran, you've never played a Hitman game?
No, but I've always something I've seen, something that caught my attention. You see the clips and stuff online, but it's one of those ones where I went, I'll get there. I never do.
It's good as a kid though, because it was all imaginative in terms of just, it's your playground, go kill people. Like there's just 100 ways. Well, there's not really. There's loads of different ways of killing people, and you can poison them, and then fucking they could be on stage and you can shoot them, or you can you can load a fake gun with a real bullet, for example, and they're on stage in a theater and he gets shot. Bobby, you actually touched on this because I did ask you before the podcast. Your Hitman game, Absolution.
Absolution, yeah.
The black sheep of them. The black sheep of the bunch. It was all right, but it's not a playground. It's like a linear approach. So people who were Hitman fans fucking lost their mind to it. Then obviously with Hitman 1, 2, and 3, it's a lot more similar. So you did enjoy it though? You did play them?
Yeah, Hitman's, I think I'll play them once the update comes out. It's something I know what I like once I actually eventually play it.
Well, you don't need to play the updates out. I've got the games there. All of them on my PlayStation, son.
There we go. It's I'm interested. I'll be interested to see if it comes to VR for the PSVR 2.
What I don't like about them now, being older, is it's a playground, so you can go do what you want. I mean, it's like that's the problem with Elden Ring and things for me. It's like I just tell me what to do. I don't want to think. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to switch off playing a game. I'm not in the mood to kind of come up with ideas of killing someone, but they are fantastic. I really think they're good games. I need to go back to 3 actually. I should probably go back to 3. I know that there's a mission in it. It's like a murder mystery, and it's supposed to be absolutely fucking incredible.
It's meant to be very good, yeah.
Yeah. So I have it sitting there, but this is what I mean. I have so much fucking games to get around to. I need to kind of get strategically through them. I may have to add that to the list now, for fuck's sake. So before we move on with that, anything else anyone wants to add into the Hitman series?
No, I'm going to download it. I don't know.
For fuck's sake. More to hand. Next up, item 3. The Last of Us show reviews are out, and they are extremely positive, which I am very happy about. Just watched actually one before we came on. Chris Stuckman. He's a YouTuber. He is fantastic. I watch all his stuff. He was extremely, extremely positive on it. The first reviews of HBO's TV adaptation of The Last of Us have started appearing online. They are widely positive. Variety calls the show a promising, moving zombie saga, stating, "What works about The Last of Us works well enough that one sees the near future in which the show winds up amongst television's best." Currently sitting at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the first episode releases Monday, the 16th of January at 9 p.m. in the UK. Talk to me, guys. Who's watching?
I'm going to say, shh, don't tell me. I'm trying to avoid everything to do with this at the minute, because I want to try and play the game before I get into the show. So, shh.
What's your thoughts, Bobby? Like, I know so anyone who's listening, by the way, me and Bobby we're gonna attempt reviewing the first episode. I've never reviewed a TV show, so I'm very fearful of how to actually review a TV show. So we'll do this on Wednesday, Tuesday. Tuesday we'll do it.
Tuesday should be up on Wednesday.
Yeah, so we'll do it on Tuesday, and hopefully it's something that we enjoy, Bobby, and we can do it weekly. But I don't know about you, but I cannot fucking wait. I'm so hyped for it.
Yeah. Do you know what's actually on at 2 a.m. tonight?
Fuck that though. I'm not getting up at 2 a.m. to watch it.
On Sky. I know I was just cracking you because you said 9 p.m. It's actually on at 2.
On Sky?
On Sky, the launch in America. The PlayStation UK actually posted it earlier.
That's good. See, because I watched House of the Dragons, and I would always watch it the next morning on like a Monday morning, or was it a Tuesday? I'm not sure. Maybe it was Tuesday morning or Monday morning. So I was wondering, is it going to be on earlier? And to be fair, that wasn't. That was just me adding that in. I know it's going to be on at 9 tomorrow or something like that anyway. But I think because Neil Druckmann, who created The Last of Us, he's co-creator on this, and it's made by the guys who made Chernobyl, which is fucking so good of a show. Ciaran, Bobby, have you any watched Chernobyl?
First episode.
It's just a one and done series, though, isn't it?
Whoa! The first episode, Ciaran. Mm-hmm. You can't even fucking finish a TV show, never mind a game. Why'd you watch the first episode?
I have a terrible bad thing where you watch 5 or 6 different TV shows at one time, and then one takes preference, and you forget about the rest.
We need this needs to stop, Ciaran. You've changed yourself in 2023. You're not allowed to watch The Last of Us until you watch Chernobyl. That is a rule. That's the podcast rule. Are you going to watch it tomorrow, Ciaran? Are you going to start watching it here, or what are you waiting to do?
I don't know what to do. I don't know whether just to start sort of playing the game and then just watch it, because if it's going to be streamlined to what the game is, plus a wee bit extra, I'm not really going to miss out on anything. It's a 14-hour game when I was looking at it, so I could probably have it done inside the week anyway, before the second episode comes out.
You beat it quicker. You would beat it quicker, I think.
I would do the game. I would 100% do the game. Because once you know the story, if you're watching the TV series, you'll probably start the game not while play it. Because it's stated. Stated gameplay.
Can I just put in a point? I know I love fucking talking in this podcast, probably too much. But my problem with you watching The Last of Us show before the game is I don't want it to taint your view of Joel. Like, I don't want you to be thinking that's my Joel, whereas the Joel that everyone else sees is the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because I think when I watch TV shows, it prompts me to go and play the game more so though than like Walking Dead, for example. I went and played the Telltale games and all of the Walking Dead after it. You know, it's things like that where it actually gets me more hyped to then go and play the game, because I want to know what happens, or I'll end up on number 2 before even the series finishes or whatever else. So it'll probably prompt me more to actually play the game.
I just think the Joel in the game, like, I obviously haven't seen the show, but the Joel in the game with Troy Baker's voice acting and just the way he is, it's fucking fantastic, isn't it, Bobby? Like,
yeah, incredible.
So there's people who's going to watch the show and don't play games. Like my dad's going to watch the show and all, and to them games are just games. You know, it's silly. You play a game, what are you doing? You're 30 years old, but there's so much that they're missing. Like that game, I bet you the game is still going to be better than anything they can put in TV. So I would say to you, Uncharted 3, Last of Us, then go to Uncharted 4, then watch this show. But like, do what you want. End of the day, it's your life. I'm just trying to get it on track with gaming. Is that right?
It needs done, mate. 2022 was horrendous. We'll not talk about that anymore.
Fair play, though. Look, honestly, fair play. 3 games in 1 week, mate. That is a testament of dedication. And you'll feel. Do you not feel like you've accomplished something?
Do you know what I actually do? I actually feel like I'm turning around now and actually going, do you know what? Fair play. Where I haven't actually enjoyed gaming for a while. You play something to play it.
Yeah.
But you don't actually enjoy it. Where now I'm actually going, I want to go and play. I actually want to go and do this now.
Good. So it's good to talk about it.
You know, so and then the podcast is prompt me more, and that's where good. I think the TV show will actually prompt me to The Last of Us to actually go and play the game.
Bobby, anything you want to add on The Last of Us?
No, me and her's going to be watching it tomorrow night, so it'll be interesting to see what she thinks of it compared to me. Obviously, I've played the game and know the story, so
right. What we're going to do?
Is she a gamer?
Fuck
no.
So Danielle wants to watch it too. She's heard about it. I'll watch this.
I would sit down with her and watch it. Good.
And play the game separate.
Bobby, what we're going to do is I want you to write down her thoughts as well, as someone who's just watched the show, and then we'll do that. But it's supposed to be extremely faithful anyway, with just added development onto the characters.
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. All the scenes that didn't make the game, all the ones that they had to cut, just obviously because of the game length and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing the differences. That's why I'm going to be playing it side by side.
So so you heard that. Stay tuned for the reviews. This hopefully live this Wednesday. Up on social medias, YouTube. I'm sure we'll clip it for TikTok as well. YouTube Shorts. Next up, here you go, you little Xbox. So I know Ciaran's probably best news of the week for him, and more games that he's not going to play. Xbox Developer Direct confirmed 25th of January. The Developer Direct Showcase will air in January and spotlight a range of upcoming titles. Xbox and Bethesda have officially confirmed the rumoured Developer Direct Showcase set to take place on 25th January 2023. The Direct will focus on big features, extended gameplay showcases, and the latest info for Xbox games launching in the next few months, including The Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and finally, Bobby's anticipated Redfall.
Oh.
Either one of you can take the helm here, because I know that you guys love sucking on the teat of Phil Spencer. Bobby, you're an educated man when it comes to games. Talk to me. Games of Xbox.
I think the first thing that we need to see, not straight away, obviously on the show, but the thing something that needs to come from the show is dates. We need to see dates for these games.
Yeah. Do you think it will?
Yeah. Well, Xbox Germany actually put up in their write-up. They actually said that extensive gameplay showcases and first-time shared release dates for the great Xbox titles coming out over the next 4 months, or the next few months, including ESO for sake. What the fuck's that? I wrote something else down. Never mind that. Minecraft Legends and Redfall. So they've actually leaked that the dates are going to be shown for them games.
Forza, what date do I think for Forza then?
That's what that Forsaken one was. Forza. That's don't spell correct. Forza.
May.
April.
Ooh.
Yep.
You think
April.
I say May? April, May. I could see that more like that.
April.
Redfall.
May.
You think May?
I think a wee bit later.
I think
No,
September.
actually, do you know what? I think well, they're talking
June.
first half of the year though. They're not with these in
Maybe, I
the
don't know.
upcoming months. They're not going to postpone it 9 months.
It
down
could
the
come
line,
as early as March because Starfield needs to come, and it's meant to come after Redfall.
Right.
That was on the original schedule anyway, unless that's changed. Personally, I would actually hold Redfall to Halloween.
Yeah, a bit more horror aspect. I've watched some on Redfall. From what I see, people are saying people are comparing it to Left 4 Dead, but it should be more comparable to Far Cry.
Far Cry, yeah.
I'm excited for it. Like,
Kind of put me off when I said that.
It's actually
Really?
Yeah. Far Cry co-op kind of thing. I'm like, it looks interesting. I was a bit like kind of hesitant on it, but I want to give it a go. See what it's
One
like.
thing that's bothering me about the multiplayer is it's not, you don't continue your progress. If you're sitting playing and I join you, my progress isn't saved, like for me,
Right.
which is a problem.
So
I don't like that.
yeah, that's not very fun. What other game does that? Where it's like, oh, we can play and I play your levels. There is a few
There's
games that do that. It's not
Quite a
great.
lot I got there. That's State of Decay too. I was big on it, but the co-op kind of let me down. Yeah, State of Decay. I've done that where you would join
Mm-hmm.
and your progress didn't carry, where you were joining and just being one of their community members. So nothing carried over, so it wasn't really as fun.
Yeah. What about you,
that's
Ciaran? Have
actually
you
a bit
watched
of it.
much on Redfall?
yeah, I've been watching bits and pieces of it, and I've done another look into it there today. Actually, for me, it's something I was looking forward to until Bobby's just went and ruined it for me there on the co-op side of things. I didn't know that was the case actually. So
I'm hoping to change it. There's been a lot of backlash about it, so
I would say they would change it though. Do you know, with all of this play anywhere and everything else that is an Xbox ethos, it would have to happen. Like, but for Redfall, I think it actually looks really well. I think it's something that's going to be different. It's going to be samey in regards to like Left 4 Dead or something like that. But I actually think it'll be a different take. It'll be a game where you'll sort of go, actually, they've done something different here. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
I just don't want a game that plays it safe. I want, and funny enough, I watched a video about this and it was talking about God of War and things and these safe games. It says if you want these types of games that do, you know, bear in mind, we've been playing games now, some of us 25, if you're Ciaran, 40 years. So in terms of what we've actually experienced, we know what they expect with games. Whereas a lot of the games that do have kind of innovation in them are indies. You know, I don't know if you played Outer Wilds, there's kind of unique kind of ideas of games. I would like Redfall to be something different. And to be fair, if there is a studio that I think's trying to do things different, I believe it would be Arcane. If you think about the likes of Deathloop, and I believe Prey had a DLC that was a bit like Deathloop as well, where it had a different type of mechanic. So Redfall, hopefully it does kind of break the mold in that aspect. I'd be interested to see what they do. But when they did mention Far Cry, I was like, please no. Forza, anyone up for giving Forza a blast?
100%.
100%. It's a game I'm not even worried about. You just know it's going to come out and it's going to be quality.
It's going to be gorgeous about.
There's no ifs and buts about it. Like, that's looking forward to it. Play Forza every time it comes out. So 100%.
What I want to see is I want to see a full race, full gameplay. I don't want any cinematics, any of that kind of stuff they showed in the last one. I just want to see a race.
Yeah. And what about the Elder Scrolls? So, Bobby, your mate, Steve, he's obviously big on the Elder Scrolls. I had read a lot, and a lot of the fans were complaining, saying it feels like it's on life support, but they're going to be announcing another DLC, is that right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Jesus Christ. Touching back on main game, the amount of DLCs that came out for this was absurd. Just out of memory, you always seen it. It was like, is another one already out? 2 years have passed like that. So that's what they have. The Elder Scrolls of Forza, Minecraft Legends, we've touched on in the past. Are you hyped for that at all?
Yes.
Now, are any of these games going to change the outcome of Xbox this generation to make it a platform, a first choice platform, as you will? A system seller. Do any of these look like they will be system sellers? And don't mention Forza, because we know Forza's Forza. Redfall or Minecraft, do you see those being the next big thing?
I think Minecraft has a really big following. I do think it would actually. There's no ifs and buts about that, but it's going to be something different. It's going to be something unique to the Minecraft world. So I think that'll be something big, and it's not going to other platforms. As in PS as well.
Of course.
Oh, there you go.
Dungeons with them. PS.
I thought it was exclusive. Was it not with Legends?
No, it's coming to PlayStation.
Then I'll
just have to buy it, obviously, but it's on Game Pass. But yeah, it's there on PlayStation. Minecraft's too big of a game to take away from PlayStation.
I thought it was when I first read. Well, there you go. There's me not knowing my ins and outs then, if that's the case. Slapping the hand, slapping
bad X-Spot.
That's it. Hard to eye. But I think there's going to be more in this. I don't think it's just going to be 4 games for 45 minutes or an hour.
Oh, you think they're going to show more that we don't know?
I think it's going to be like a Nintendo Direct. That's the way I feel it. This is going to be like, where it's going to be, here's this, but wait. And there's going to be something that we're not expecting.
I don't think there will be. I think it's these games and that's it. And they've already stated the Starfield is not going to be here. There's going to be an extra show.
True.
They've stated that we're showing these 4 games. And they've stated clearly that Starfield won't be here because people's going to be wanting that there. So I think they're being quite clear. So I don't think there's going to be anything else, in my opinion.
What about Game Pass? Like coming to Game Pass, probably? Nothing like that?
No, it is what it's an Xbox developer direct. The developer's going to be going into a wee bit of a deep dive. There's no host or anything. It's just going to be, here's the game, blah blah blah. Here's a wee bit about it, and then maybe hopefully release dates. But I don't think there'll be anything else personally.
Bobby, the Xbox god has spoken. So if you're looking for Starfield, you may fucking watch something else.
Starfield's not going to be here. They've said they're going to do a more, but it'll have its own show. And if it doesn't hit, then Xbox is fucked.
Do you think that's to create hype, or do you think it's more the fact that it's going to be so much detail that we don't know about Starfield?
Detail. It deserves its own kind of show, I think. Especially. Personally, I would say, yeah, you're going to have Todd Howard probably taking the show. Most likely it's going to be Todd Howard doing a deep dive on gameplay, systems, and so on, just to drum up hype. Don't know if any disagree on that, but if I was the betting man, that's what I would say is going to happen.
That's what they usually do. He usually does like a bit of a deep dive, and then a couple of months later the game comes out. Obviously it got delayed last year because they only kind of give the date there in, what was it, June in E3.
Yeah.
And then they eventually delayed it, but I think that will be, I think that show, we'll get the date on that show for Starfield.
Yeah. And you think of Fallout 4, what was it? It was announced at E3 and released 6 months later, which was absurd at the time. I remember there was a load of noise about that. That was pretty
That's
cool.
That's the way he likes to do it.
Earl Todd, what's he like? Some man, some pup. So yeah, before we move on with that, Bobby, anything you want to add on to the Xbox chat before we move on?
No, looking forward to it.
Good on you. What about Ciaran? Do you want to hold your peace?
I'm all good for that.
You're all good. Just misinforming the population. You're a bad expert. Go learn your studios.
Go learn my studios.
No, yeah. There you are. So Minecraft Legends will be a PS exclusive according to Bobby. They're going to have to take it all away from the developer direct. That's just a joke. Moving on. Item 5, sorry. Ubisoft delay 3 unannounced games and Skull and Bones again. Now I believe, before we get into this, I believe Skull and Bones, and I heard this and I may be wrong in saying it, 6 times delayed?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Jesus Christ. I think I've heard about this from 2016 or 17. It's been, oh my God. We'll get into it anyway. Ubisoft has now cancelled 3 more unannounced projects that joined the bin, with 4 others it cancelled in July 2022. 7 games. To make matters worse, the long in development Skull and Bones has been delayed yet again. The pirate-themed action adventure has already seen many delays, 6, since its first reveal in 2017. Up first, hit me with it, Ciaran.
Something tells me Skull and Bones isn't coming out. I don't think it's going to make it.
Well, it's been announced. It's been moved to 23-24 fiscal year, which is what? April to April? So March, I think it's April. The earliest we can see is like March, April this year till next.
It's a game I've actually been really looking forward to. I've enjoyed Sea of Thieves. It's definitely something I've been looking forward to, but it's just getting to the point now, and we'll get into a wee bit more. It's just getting to the point now where I think it's dead. I don't think the hype train is going to be there for it, and it's going to come out. It's just going to flop.
I don't think it's dead. I think they will release it. I don't think it's dead. The only thing that's really bums me out about the whole thing is you can't get out of your ship. You can't walk about, isn't that right?
Thought you could.
I think you can at one port. Who did I hear that from? Let me just double check this on while we're actually podcasting there. So
I think we talked about this on a different podcast or maybe an earlier podcast, but I think.
Let me see. Skull and Bones, leave ship. Let's see.
I don't believe there's any combat outside of the ship.
Maybe that's what it is.
There's exploration of some sort, like, going looking for supplies or something like that. But there's definitely, I'm near sure I've seen something.
I don't know where I heard that, but I actually just Googled. So you can step off your ship and walk in dry land, but not every island you see is explorable. But you can weigh anchor at dens and outposts, 2 special location types that have everything a pirate needs to prepare for further adventures. Dens and outposts. So maybe we combat sections. I don't think it's going to be akin to what you have in like the Sea of Thieves, but there you are. There's me schooled. I was just misinforming the world there. Yeah. So moving on, not moving on completely, but I mean, if you think about the games they've announced not released, you've still got Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is that's even older than this.
Yeah.
And there was footage for that. It was also a CGI trailer. You've got the Prince of Persia game that was due to be released, and people were like, what the fuck have you showed here? Because this is terrible. A few other unannounced titles, obviously rumors were, I think there was a Tom Clancy game in there, most likely. What's your thoughts? So what's happening with Ubisoft here?
See, the fact that they were putting their performance down this year on Mario and the Rabbids and Just Dance to keep them afloat, and this is it's because of the poor performance of these games it's laid this.
Oh, because that's the only games that came out in 2022 for Ubi.
That's what they were expecting to bring in. They flopped, they didn't do what they expected, and this is where it's led to everything being delayed and resources not being there.
Well, just to say about them 2 games, there was Extraction as well.
Was that 2020? That wasn't 2022, was it?
It was, because it was my most played game on Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they had Extraction, which was still obviously the Siege kind of engine and things like that, I'm guessing, just the way it looked. It was very much kind of an expansion to that, wasn't it, really? But
I really enjoyed it.
I know you liked it, yeah. So you have Assassin's Creed going through a major revamp. So they've made I'm going off memory here. There's a smaller, shorter title akin to the older ones. Mirage, which I'm actually excited for, if anything.
So am I.
And then obviously there's another one that's going to be an open world kind of RPG one that's
there's another 2. There's
a Japanese one.
Project Red something. Yeah, that's the Japanese one. It's going to be like the full on open world one. And then there's one called Project Hexe, which is to do with witchcraft and stuff.
Witchcraft?
Which is interesting. Yeah, there's witchcraft now. I think it's Germany.
I think, look, for Ubisoft, the best thing they do is delay their games. I don't think they don't have tons of bugs from what I remember in their games, but it's just too samey, honestly. I remember playing Far Cry 3 and thinking, these guys are making some great games. They were my favorite developer at the time, because you had Rayman Legends was playing Origins at the time and all these other games, and I was thinking, an Ubisoft game, great fun, but now it's at the same stage. It's just, there's too much, too repetitive. If Skull and Bones needs delayed. The worst thing you do is release a bad game. I think it was the creator of Mario says, you can delay, you can release a bad game, it's bad forever. If you delay a game, it has a chance of being great. Something similar to that. Before we move on, because obviously it's hard to kind of go off on this when we don't really know the unannounced games, but obviously things aren't going great in Ubi. Has anyone anything else they want to add to that?
No, just I think it's definitely it's coming out. 100% it's going to come out, but
I think it'll come out
delayed again.
And are they still up for releasing Beyond Good and Evil? I don't know. I actually heard something about it recently. I don't know if it's actually still going to be coming out, but
I haven't heard anything, to be honest myself. But I think it's going to come out. I think it's a game that should have been just cancelled a long time ago, but they've put too much into it to not release it.
Yeah,
I think they just need to make sure it's right.
In terms of new IPs, as well, they're not really hitting on those very often anymore.
Mm. If it comes out and it's like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I'll enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I love Black Flag. Probably one of my favorites.
Great.
So that's why that's what this came off. It's like a spiritual successor to it. So,
yep. So item 6, moving on. Final Fantasy 16 producer denies existence of Final Fantasy 16 PC. Producer Naoki Yoshida has denied that the upcoming Square Enix game will appear on PC, telling interested fans to go buy a PS5. Now, obviously, it was shown in the trailer, the original trailer. The PC was mentioned. Bobby's not too big on Final Fantasy, so it's probably a non-topic for you. You may want to add a few things, but I'll go to Ciaran for this, but he is a Final Fantasy fan. What's your thoughts, Ciaran? Final Fantasy 16 not coming to PC? Do you believe it?
No. He does say in his what he says is it's a 6-month sort of thing, not necessarily long term. I think Final Fantasy 7 remake took 12 to 18 months.
Wait there.
It made it to PC.
Did he say? Where did you read this?
Wait 1 second, I'll get it for you now, and I'll read it word for word for you.
Just need a. This is Ciaran. Ciaran has a wild habit of telling things that are.
So, Yoshi P on rumors of Final Fantasy 16 PC version. Nobody said the word about a PC version releasing. Why is it like PC version is releasing 6 months later? Question mark. Don't worry about it. Buy a PS5. Laugh. Sorry I went overboard. We did our best. So please look forward to it.
Yeah.
So no one's saying it's 6 months later. But remake never came to 12 to 18 months after, because PlayStation got another 6 months on exclusivity for Integrate.
So it's not that. That's not true. It's not. They didn't say that about 6 months. It's not come to. He didn't say it's come to 6 months later. So it's not coming.
That's what he said. Why is it like a PC version is releasing 6 months later?
That's what people were saying. He says that's him saying that.
Yeah.
Because what happened, and actually says here in the IGN article, Final Fantasy would only. So an advertisement for the DualSense controller said Final Fantasy 16 would only be a PS5 exclusive for 16 months, implying that it would arrive on another platform in December 2023. But that's what he's saying. That's all. Why is it that people keep saying that? If you want to play it, get a PS5. So it's PS. He's saying it's a PS5 exclusive. So
I read that differently.
It's been translated from Japanese, so he's basically saying like, why is people saying that this is coming out in 6 months on PC? That's what he's saying. But there was original trailers when it first came out saying console exclusive for 6 months, or platform exclusive, sorry, for 6 months.
Yeah, because he's obviously look, even there's still
he's not allowed to say that it's coming.
Yeah, so but
he'll be under contract.
The actual headline is. Go ahead.
No, he'll be under contract. He's not allowed to say that it's coming. He's going to tell you where it's coming now, and that's where you have the bet.
Yeah,
so he's going to tell you to come. He's not allowed to say that it's coming to PC in 6 months if it is.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind the headline here is Final Fantasy 16 producer denies existence of PC version by a PS5. So it would be quite contradictory if, and he's also saying in the statement going, wait 6 months. So in short, yes, translation's not great. It's according to him, it's not coming to PC. Truth be told, is it coming to PC? Absolutely. Let's think, what Final Fantasy hasn't come to PC at some stage? You've got all of them basically. I don't believe. Well, maybe if anything. Actually, you have obviously the classic remakes now, remaster. Sorry, every Final Fantasy mainline game is on PC.
PC.
Do you know what I mean? So, the grand scheme of things, is it coming to PC? Yes. Final Fantasy to me anyway feels like a PlayStation exclusive, and that's more of just the Japanese ties anyway, because it is a Japanese company, obviously Sony, and then you have obviously Square Enix being a Japanese studio publisher. So,
but
Remake's
the reason why I went out and bought a PS4. I literally wouldn't touch a PlayStation. Remake got announced. PS4 was bought. Reason why I went out and bought a PS5 is for Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth.
Talk about that. Why would you buy a PlayStation?
Because I'm an Xbox.
Why?
I would rather an Xbox console than a PlayStation because of their controllers.
The controller?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the controller still?
No, do you know what? I actually like the DualSense.
There you are.
It's fitting a wee bit now that I'm using it a wee bit more, but I would still rather an Xbox and an Xbox controller.
Well, once you get through your Sony games, I want you to reassess this. We'll have a discussion regarding you and to actually touch on that, because I know this is kind of going off topic slightly off that, but Bobby has been playing Uncharted, and I told him I would ask him this question on the podcast. Bobby, is PlayStation better than Xbox in terms of its games?
Yes.
Bobby has been changed. Bobby is now a pony. Ciaran is the only Xbox.
Oh.
Be like me.
I would agree with you though. I would agree in single player games Sony is better, but for multiplayer platform, Xbox is definitely a better platform.
Why?
It's just so much easier, fluid. it just seems to work better with
In
less
what way?
issues. For example, I'm not going to go off the PS5, but talking PS4 download times and stuff like
That's
that.
last gen.
I'm going to talk about that. That's an experience that I have a PlayStation though. Do you know what I mean? That's the experience I've had of PlayStation.
But that's like complaining about the iPhone 5 when the iPhone 14's out.
But that's probably the reason why I don't use an iPhone, because of a poor experience I had of an X console.
But you got a PlayStation 5?
But I would agree that single player games are better. Storytelling's better on PlayStation games, 100%.
What multiplayer games are better? I'm not disagreeing here, by the way. I'm not disagreeing.
I'll tell you what, just talking about it, Forza's better than Gran Turismo.
Why?
It's, again, just the fluidity of it.
In what way?
Graphical comparison. You're just sitting putting pressure on. Is this
I'm
just trying to know, but I'm trying. In what way is the fluidity better? I just think it works a lot better, and it's probably something that I can't sit down. I'm not going to be able to sit here and explain it for you word for word, but I would definitely turn around and say,
we're going to get back to Final Fantasy 16, but the truth of it is, have you played the latest Gran Turismo?
No.
So, do you think, if you haven't played the latest Gran Turismo, did you play Gran Turismo Sport?
No.
Did you play the Gran Turismo Prologue?
And this is where you're going to...
So,
Prologue?
This is where he gets you.
This is where he gets you. So you haven't played it since PS1.
So once again, this is for anyone listening, because this is the way we need to approach things, and this is it. For all we know, Forza most likely could be better than Gran Turismo, but we can't outrightly say it. So all I'm saying is, just instead of fanboying, just be open-minded, and that's bygones be bygones. PlayStation had its problems in the past. Xbox had the red ring. Doesn't make me stop banning Xbox consoles. But is Gran Turismo better than Forza? Probably not. Who knows? I'll wait until the new Forza comes out and I'll play that, and then I'll tell you what my thoughts are. But Ciaran, you will be a pony by the end of this podcast.
Definitely not.
No.
Do not agree.
They're both great consoles. I just like great games. The better games that come out for Xbox. See if Starfield is literally a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, I will be the one clapping because I'm the one going to be playing it. So there's no need for fanboyism when we're this age and we have so many consoles. With
I would say that though. I've opened up my mind to go and actually I'll play games. So
yeah, because you have them. There's no point.
But
the truth of it is, look, with the Final Fantasy side of things come to PC, I think that will come to PC. It most likely will be in 6 months. Too late, because any Final Fantasy fan who does like Final Fantasy will try and play that at launch. They're not going to wait about. Have a wee story about me getting Final Fantasy 15 in game, getting it a wee bit earlier than I should have. Very disappointed, but I am excited for Final Fantasy 16. I haven't even watched too much on it. I've watched some trailers. I'm going dark on it. I don't really care about watching anymore. What about you, Ciaran? Are you going to watch any trailers? Are you trying to go dark? What's kind of your approach to the game?
I'm just banning it. I haven't even watched any of the trailers. I think I might have watched one, actually. That just like the release trailer of about 2 years ago. I haven't touched much on it then, but I do know that it's going to be darker, I believe is the word to use.
Yeah.
In regards to the way the story is going to be tried. So I'm like, do you know what? I'll take away as it comes out. When it's June, isn't that right? It's June, isn't it?
Something like that. It's the summertime. Do you know who Yoshi P is?
Nope.
Yoshi P, head developer of 14. So that's the studio. 14 of actually creative. I say creative assembly, but that's fucking. That's the guys who make Total War, isn't it?
Sega.
Yes.
Yeah. It's they done fucking the Alien Isolation game. No, it's a creative business suite or something. Those guys. So if you watch the trailer for Final Fantasy 16, it looks a lot similar to Final Fantasy 14 characters in a way, where they look a bit weird. So Yoshi P's, that's what he's doing. So a lot of the newer expansions people are loving. So I have faith in it. It'll be great. Hopefully a lot better in 15. And what about you, Bobby? Obviously you're not big on the Final Fantasy. Bobby, by the summertime, your goal, I'm going to get you to try and play a Final Fantasy game and see how you feel. Bobby, I think you should either play 7, the original, or Final Fantasy X, because you like turn-based, and then we can kind of grow you and turn you into a wee emo-loving weeaboo manga.
This one actually has my interest because it's more like kind of medieval European style, and the fighting and all looks good. So that actually has my pick more than Final Fantasy 15. I never liked the look of it.
Yeah, it is. They try to be open world. I just really couldn't get into Final Fantasy 15. It's things. Open worlds burn me out. especially when they're open worlds with nothing in them, and they're being open world for the sake of being open world. I do prefer linear games in a way, because just you don't get lost. It's easy. You don't have to think. So yeah, so Final Fantasy 16, that'll be coming out in the summer. I'm looking forward to it. Bobby, I'm most likely bad anyway, so you can get it from me. You can just suck on the teat once again. I keep saying that tonight. Yeah, you can use the free trial. Anything to add before we move on? Forever hold your peace. Very good. Item 7. John Carpenter may have leaked the Dead Space movie. Horror film legend John Carpenter really, really loves Dead Space. The director of The Thing, Halloween, and Escape from New York has talked about it extensively in the past, and amidst his love for the series, Carpenter may have just inadvertently teased a film adaptation before it was ever officially revealed. In an interview with Variety, the publication nudged Carpenter on his past remarks about wanting to make a Dead Space film. In response, Carpenter backpedaled pretty significantly on the idea that he might be involved, but at the end let slip that another director was involved, implying such a thing exists in the first place. Makes sense. Game's out this month.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I'll let Bobby do this. He's played the game. I haven't.
Have you, Bobby? You played Dead Space?
I've touched on them. I haven't beat any of them, so I'm kind of looking forward to this new one coming out. If you don't get it, I probably will.
Horror game?
Scare me.
These two.
I've tried them, and I tried them, and they were quite scary.
I'll be honest. I think I turned it on, went down, the lights flickered. I went, not for me, and turned it back off.
So what's interesting about this is Dead Space took a lot of inspiration, I believe, from Alien in a way. So it also took inspiration from a movie. The question I would have is which directors would be involved. So if you're going sci-fi, there is a few directors who would be prime for that. You've got Denis Villeneuve. He does the likes of Dune. He's done Arrival. Not really horror but you've got him. He would be interested in doing it. I don't think it'll be a big name director. It'll probably be something small. But you have the likes of Ridley Scott. He done the Alien films. He done Prometheus. I would have loved to see John Carpenter do that. He is a great director. Obviously done Halloween. But The Thing, have any of you ever watched that film?
No.
Oh, it was fantastic. Basically, it was a remake of an old film from the years ago, but it was based in the 80s, had Kurt Russell in it. These people are alone in an Alaskan retreat, and they find something buried in the snow. It's an alien, and what it can do is it can replicate people or turn into them, but then it starts infecting people and so on. I would love to see him do that, but obviously it looks like it's not going to be him at all. I think it depends on what the game's going to do as well. I think they must be confident about the game to start drumming up interest again as well on this. So
it looks good. Looks really good. I know the original's like beloved. A lot of people cast as one of like the best horror survival games ever.
Yeah.
So this comes out and does the same and looks better and runs better and feels better, then it's going to be a hit.
It's a common theme at the minute, though, isn't it? Everything's either being remade or made into movies. So
I'll be excited for the movie. Like horror genres may not be my favorite games because I'm a big scaredy cat, but movies are my favorite.
That is bizarre.
Horror movies are my favorite. Me and her watched that Megan last night. It was fantastic.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, really good.
I need to give that a watch.
But I love all that stuff. Love it. But the games, because I'm there. It's me getting chased.
It's not though. It's your character.
God help you ever doing VR, mate, to be honest with you. So that wraps up the news. Moving on, what we'll do is we're going to follow up with the rumours. This week we're just going to blast through a few rumours, get a few thoughts, and then we'll move on to listener questions. So first up, a new sci-fi game clip in very early development has appeared to leak online. Rumours is it's a PS exclusive created by X-Devs in collaboration with People Can Fly. First up, what we'll do, guys, is we'll just go around in the first three of us and get a quick thoughts. Bobby, hit me with it. Quick thoughts.
I think it's something that PlayStation is missing. Third-party game or third-person shooter game. Mm-hmm. The Outriders was fantastic gameplay. A lot of them worked on the old Gears of War games, so you can tell a lot of the inspirations from that there. And I personally, I think it'd be great on PlayStation. I think that's something that they're missing.
Do we think it's going to be multiplayer focused as well?
I hope so.
Go up, aye.
If they replicate what Gears does, I think it'll be great. I love all that. Like when I play Gears, it was always in co-op.
Aye.
If I was a betting man, I do think it's going to have either side is going to have multiplayer as a big focus, or it is going to be a multiplayer game. especially because it has the likes of Outriders devs in it.
Yeah.
People will.
I think it will be.
Yeah,
PlayStation, they're focusing a lot more now on multiplayer games and stuff. So, and I think they have 12 live service games in the works. So
yeah,
that's
that's
could be one of
exactly what I
them.
was going to say. And obviously they bought Bungie off because they're really starting to push this side of things.
Yeah.
So that's going forward. What about yourself, Ciaran?
I think it's something that PlayStation need. I think they're pushing too many of the same IPs at the minute, so they do need to bring a wee bit more life into it. Especially with everything that's going on in the market at the minute in regards to acquisitions and everything like that. It'll be probably a good game to get into. I just think it's something that PlayStation is potentially missing at the minute for their genres.
Well, even if you think about big multiplayer pushes, the next game by Naughty Dog is going to be the Last of Us
Factions,
which was going to be obviously it's just like the first game where it was an added mode to 2. That's a fully fledged multiplayer game, and you have Naughty Dog doing it, which they actually said recently it's their most ambitious project yet. So the only thing I don't want to happen, and this is what happens, by the way, guys, if you look at GTA, you get a big, very first party heavy or story heavy, and then it's very profitable in multiplayer. So if Sony do get the taste for multiplayer and they start doing really well from it, will that detract from their single player story focused games, do you think? Or do you think we'll still get that?
No, I think we'll still get it.
You think?
I think this is just a market that they need to touch into because they haven't already. So I think they'll build off what they already have with their single player games and have this as an extra asset.
Yeah. God,
and I think it's going to launch on PC as well. All these games are. All the multiplayer ones that rely on a multiplayer player base.
Last of Us as well?
Yes.
I don't. There's no way. But that's system seller to them. They're like, there'll be no way.
It'll come to PC.
It will come to PC.
At launch.
Not launch. I'll bet you right now. We'll put what, £50 on it?
Hold on, mate.
That's pennies to you, mate.
I need another week to think about that one.
What are you on about? You're fucking spending £400 like you're going out of fashion here.
Well, Herman Hull said in one of his last meetings that about the exclusives going to PC, he says things like multiplayer that need a player base, they'll be day one.
Right. But it's The Last of Us.
I don't care. Last of Us is already on PC.
What one?
Well, it's coming like March.
So why wouldn't they put that on day one? I know that's single player. I know what you're saying. You might be right, because obviously with the success of the show, it's gonna be, this is where you go. Do we just want money, or do we want to push console sales as well? So whatever works best.
I don't think it's a system seller.
It depends on what it's like. We don't know what it's like.
I don't think it's going to be a big system seller. I think they'll need the player base, in my opinion.
Surely they'll make more off the player base than what they will sell in their consoles. Like,
well, you think really? You think that, Ciaran?
Ciaran's with me.
So you think, right?
I would say the margins on console sales, especially in this day and age.
You're thinking wrong. So if you have someone who is predominantly either a PC or an Xbox or a Switch player, transfer to PlayStation, not only will they make money on the console, which most of them don't, every game you purchase that they're going to cut off. So it's more about the acquisition for the player.
But a mainly predominant PC player will just buy a PlayStation and just buy the exclusive. That's it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So they're not going to, they think, that's the way Sony think though. They think, we buy that there, then they'll buy other games. But if you're mainly a PlayStation player, you're not going to buy all the third party stuff. Like Ciaran, he's mainly Xbox. He's not going to buy, fucking Hogwarts or whatever on, he might buy it, but he probably won't. He'll buy that on Xbox, if you know what I mean.
But what if you sign up for PS Extra and then now is their monthly income from that?
Like Ciaran just says, he bought a PlayStation for Final Fantasy. He didn't buy it for everything else, for daily use.
You're right.
That's the reason why he bought it. I think it'll come to PC.
We'll see.
50 quid. Pocket.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does.
Me and Kieran's half whack on this, by the way.
But if you have to think, if this is going to be, we'll see. Right? You start going half whack. If we're going to do that, then you do 75.
Trailed in here, just sitting here quietly and getting trailed into a bed.
Good luck getting 25 quid off Ciaran, for fuck's sake.
The Doc's Arschmidt.
That's it. Next up, Jeff Grubb from Jump Bomb has mentioned that Ubi has been doing the rounds trying to get purchased a new look. So I wanted to actually say this during the Ubi part, but what do you think? Jeff Grubb is quite creditable.
I think it's probably true. To be honest, most of the stuff that comes out with is true.
This is what brings me back to my point of the I don't see Skull and Crossbones coming out.
Crossbones?
If they're
You want to make a bet?
Oh, this is going to have him skin. Right.
50 quid.
There is a thing with
Skull and
Ubisoft.
Bones comes out.
Oh, it's coming out.
There's a thing with Ubisoft and Fifenti. Do you remember Fifenti? Vivendi? Do you remember this? Vivendi? Studio, it was like an old publisher. Vivendi. Literally Google it, right? And look at the label or the logo. You will remember this.
Spell it.
Vivendi. Vivendi. Right? Vivendi Games or whatever. So these were very big in like I believe it was like the 2000 things. They are buying up shares, or they have been trying to buy out Ubisoft or Ubisoft. There's something where Ubisoft, yeah, so Vivendi sells remaining Ubisoft shares after failed takeover. They had been trying to take over Ubisoft by buying shares to have a majority in the company. And this was a real worry for Ubisoft. So that obviously failed. This is going back in 2019. But I remember hearing a lot about this. So this is actually from 2019 here. So Ubisoft finally fends off a Vivendi takeover bid through Tencent. So Tencent is a Chinese kind of owned conglomerate kind of thing. They're banning out a lot. There's a lot with that because obviously it's communist fucking China banning a lot into the gaming space. So why don't they just go to Tencent and get purchased? That's what I kind of don't see, because obviously Tencent's happily ban everyone. Who would, and this is kind of the question I was going to ask on the back of it. Who would buy Ubisoft?
Microsoft.
I suppose they were laughed out everywhere, by the way, according to Jeff Grubb.
Microsoft can't do anything at the minute until Activision is done, but 100% Microsoft will buy them.
But the only thing that I would say about Microsoft at the minute, I think the next thing that they go into is a Japanese developer. Is going to be their next acquisition. Has to be.
Mm.
Think it's going to be a developer or a
publisher?
I think they're going to go for Sega.
That's a bold move. Bold move, actually. Sega, how much do you think the Sega's worth, Ciaran?
I'd have to go and Google it, mate. Actually, do you know what? I'll go and Google it now and see what they're worth.
It's not that much.
To be fair, they're on good terms with Sega. If you think about their Game Pass and pairing up with them and a lot of the things recently. So Ubisoft, how much do you think Ubisoft would be worth?
Something like 9 billion, maybe. 6 to 9. In between 6 to 9.
6 to 9.
At most.
Well, you've got Far Cry. You've got the Tom Clancy games.
What's their... I'm
got Rayman.
Market cap.
Sega's sitting at 3.6 billion.
Yeah, so they're not that...
At maximum value.
Not that bad.
Yeah. That would be interesting, but I don't know. Do you think, can you see Xbox buying any more publishers? Do you think after the Activision deal, that's going to be it?
Depends how it closes. Depends what way it goes.
A lot of
frustration. I mean, it's still not a monopoly either way to look at it, like, you know. So I think they'll go for Platinum Games.
Platinum Games, they're independent, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're very hit and miss. A lot of their games, like they'll put out something great and then they'll put out something terrible.
Yeah,
you know,
I think that could be one to go for if they're going sort of Japanese.
Okay, moving on. PlayStation 5 version 7.0 to include Discord and cloud streaming for PS5 games. Do we believe it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Tom Henderson, owner of Insider Gaming. I believe this. I think it's more than likely going to happen. PlayStation 5 streaming. What do we think? Are we thinking it's going to be to the extent of xCloud? Or do you think it's going to be just on your console you can stream games? Or do you think it's going to be like software supported on the TVs and so on?
Well, somewhere I read it was more so to try and save disk space for streaming, more so than...
Oh, like the Game Pass kind of way it has, where you can just kind of stream it quickly?
Stream it quickly and cloud it. Again, we had this conversation last week where not everyone's going to have a connection for it.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, then does it open the point of what Bobby said there of PC? Does it open up PC side of things?
Good like shit, actually, yeah, PC purchase.
Game Pass PC sort of thing.
That'll be interesting.
Does it open up that? So it'd be interesting to see. I wouldn't say I know enough about PlayStation as such, only coming over to the platform to sort of talk about it.
Over to what platform?
Great in depth.
Oh, for you going to the platform?
For me, given that I've been away from it for so long, it's something that I've only delved into, but I would say it being more like potentially like a Game Pass PC for their cloud side of things and things like that.
Funny enough, and I may be wrong in saying this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. PlayStation were actually the first out of them and Microsoft to do the streaming. PlayStation Now had launched before, and they had to stream into obviously your phone and your Vita, for fuck's sake, if you remember this. PlayStation 5 streaming, if it is similar to Xbox, I think it's a good shout in terms of just streaming a quick game before you want to play it on the extra. And then, if it's a game that you just want to play an hour, I wouldn't want to sit and stream a full PS5 game unless it's.
I think it's going to come to PC.
I don't know. I don't think so.
You think so?
I don't think so. It's the way Sony are, I don't think so. Maybe in the future, down the line.
I think in the future down the line, they'll have their own
storefront.
Their own launcher, yeah.
Yeah, storefront. Yeah. Could see it if that happens. So yeah. Moving on. Number 4, Special Nick. Gears of War collection still happening. He's a co-founder of Xbox Era. So he had actually put up on his Twitter before that obviously Gears of War collection's happening. He's came back to it recently and says, yes, it's still happening. Now, remember, Gears of War obviously had a remaster done with the last generation, but then if you think they also done that with Halo on the Halo anniversary, so it would be akin to that. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Gears collection?
I think it'd be good. It's definitely something that I would jump into.
I think it'd be good. Problem is, was it like what Gears does now, and will it flop in terms of user player base down the line?
I don't know. It would get well, yeah, probably. But I never done any of the multiplayer stuff. I only ever done the co-op campaign, which I loved. So I would play through the 3 campaigns like again. But it was, and then maybe add 4 and stuff into it, like the Master Chief collection done.
Yeah.
But if they do the multiplayer the way the Master Chief does, where it's like, you can select them all the maps, from all 3 games, I think that will work.
Do you think it'll be the Coalition making it?
No.
The 343 do the Master Chief collection? It was them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely balls it up.
At the start, yeah.
Yeah. Blur did the cutscenes.
No, I don't think it'll be them. I think they're working on Gear 6, and I think they're working on something else, like a smaller project that's actually coming before Gear 6.
I'd be interested, if they actually did 1, 2, and 3 proper remakes, I would happily play it. Now, the question is, do they touch up Gears 1? Or do they do like what they did with the Halo anniversary and just touch one of the games and just up-res the rest?
I would like to think they would do them all properly, like.
But they didn't with Halo, when you think about it.
But
big undertaking.
Backlash they got for it, did they not?
Gears is better.
There you go. And you hadn't even played the multiplayer. Well, hopefully they do, and we can play multiplayer together, mate. I loved it.
Yeah, that would be good.
Moving on, PS5 with detachable disc drive by the owner of Insider Gaming, IG, Tom Henderson. Supposedly what they're going to do is they're going to have one SKU for the PlayStation, and what you would do is then purchase an additional disc drive if you want that plugs in via USB. What's your thoughts on that?
Makes sense, because when I was talking a minute ago about the money that they make off consoles, it would probably end up bringing down the value of making the units, which increases the profits.
So once again, comes at a lower price point for them than Xbox on the grand scheme of things of the Series console. But also, when we talked earlier about digital games, this was kind of the things I was looking at going, that's interesting. Do you believe it, Ciaran?
I seen something on this about 6 months ago as well.
Yeah, it was reported. Yeah, it was
reported. I see them doing it, and the reason why I just think the 2 consoles are going 2 different ways this year. I think they have 2 different ideas of what this gen's going to be. I can see that happening in a way of trying to compete with the in between the X and the S.
Yeah,
and it makes it more accessible. Is the word that I would use, because I think it's been very inaccessible. Mm-hmm. And now with the chip shortage and all gone, it probably makes more sense, because it's probably harder to get the disk drives in regards to value. To do something like a detachable drive, probably be lower value, to be fair, but make them more money.
Now, Bobby, I don't believe it's on the digital consoles. Like, we can't just buy. Do you still have your digital PlayStation, Bobby?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was actually, remember, I think a couple of months ago, I was talking about back and forth buying a disc one again.
Oh, they're all games. Don't do it.
But now we game share, but don't really have the need to, because that was the sort of problem, was having to buy 70 quid games. Yeah. Which shouldn't have been before, but now we're kind of splitting the costs.
Yeah, and to be fair, but supposedly it won't work on the digital console SKU. But to be fair, that surely would just be a quick patch in to allow that functionality to work.
It should be. I don't see why they would do that.
If they do it, I could see it doing it. But then, well, yeah, because it's only going to benefit. Well, I was going to say it's only going to benefit them, but maybe it wouldn't, because then the loss that they made on the digital console of manufacture, they made on you buying the digital games. But that by buying this accessory, then you're there maybe losing the digital storefront purchase that you would have made. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that actually could be a thing, Bobby, where they just don't. If it's Sony, they are awkward as fuck.
They are. They could do that.
Have you any more thoughts, Bobby, that you want to add in?
I don't think the disc drive's going to be cheap.
Really? What do you think?
I don't know. It's going to be at least £100.
That'll just negate the cost from buying a digital PlayStation.
I think it'll be maybe you're talking £20 difference or something between buying that and the disc drive rather than just buying a disc PS5.
Yeah. So what they're going to do, they say, is just one console and then additional add-on, and it actually makes sense because it's a bit of a faff with two consoles at the moment for them, I guess. Like, you have your digital PlayStation, you have your disc. When I'm saying that, but you obviously have the Series S and the Series X, but there was issues. I remember at launch, was there not? And I may be wrong in saying this, but even getting hold of the digital PlayStations, there was just so much in demand. I'm not too sure on what kind of the way it would be with manufacturing now.
They're still hard to get on demand.
Really?
Yeah. So I was looking. I actually made a TikTok about this. The PlayStations are more in stock now, but the digital ones aren't.
Interesting. Because I remember when I got mine, it was pre-ordered. I remember because I told you about the pre-order and we got it, and it was like, oh, there's only a few digital, and I put my name down for that. Digital's better. It's just fucking much better looking as well. So look, that'll be interesting, and I think that would said it was going to be sometime like September year, obviously most likely leading up to Christmas. I could see it happening. I think it actually makes sense. It sounds silly, and when you think in your head, I think of fucking the Sega CD add-on sort of thing, but it makes sense.
Xbox done it too. 360, they had the HD DVD player.
I remember. Oh, geez, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then Sony, obviously,
it's been done like so.
Do you know who owns Blu-ray, boys?
Tell us.
No. You've
Sony.
lost me in movies and stuff. I was going to say Sony, but...
Yeah, Sony. So every Blu-ray that Microsoft make or whatever or buy, Sony get a cut out of that. I believe. I hope I'm right in that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's like, I believe. Moving on. This is one from Bobby that I inputted. Special Nick, once again. Platinum Games might be working with Xbox again to try bring back Scalebound, but it is super early. Now, Scalebound was very far advanced in its development, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, from what I've seen, was it not like it looked to me in the gameplay like a Monster Hunter kind of approach in terms of big fucking monsters and you're just fucking running about in an open world kind of thing. Is that right in my saying, Bobby?
Yeah, there's like dragons and stuff. You can fly and all that kind of stuff. And as far as I know, there was just a lot of development trouble with it. I think Microsoft was forcing them to use the Unreal Engine and they weren't familiar with it or something like that.
Right.
And that kind of led to the downfall of it eventually, and it just got cancelled.
Just having a quick look. Platinum Games. So we've mentioned them a few times now. Let me see. Platinum Games. Have a wee look. Platinum Games. Game release in order, okay? So do you think it's going to happen, Bobby? Do you foresee they will rebring this back to development?
I think it could. I think there would be a lot of hype around it because there was a lot of people that actually bought an Xbox One for this game.
Yeah.
I was excited for this game. I was actually really disappointed when it didn't come out.
Back in around, I think it was February, there was a lot of tweets going on from the Platinum Games president, quoting or tweeting over to Phil about let's do it and all that kind of stuff. There was I need to try and get the quotes up here, but there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of back and forth between that. There, not back and forth because Phil wasn't tweeting back, but. Let me see. I'm gonna have a look for it here.
You have a look. These guys, like I said, they are so up and down on what they release. I guess obviously it's not the same studio, maybe making the same one. So you had them in 2009, Mad World, Infinite Space, Bayonetta. Mad World and Bayonetta were really well made. You had Vanquish, which done well, Metal Gear Rising, which is done well, the Wonderful 101, which was decent, Bayonetta 2, but then The Legend of Korra, Transformers Devastation, Star Fox Zero, and then obviously they've done really well with Nier Automata, they've done Astral Chain. But they have done as well, guys, Babylon's Fall. Fuck me. There was actually a thing recently, one person was playing that online.
Yeah, I'd seen that on Steam.
Jesus Christ.
No, I've actually found the quote, the tweets here. So, President at Sushi, I'm going to say. said that Camilla has been wanting to work on Scalebound again for a while. Both Camilla and I are serious. We would really love to work on Scalebound again. I'd like to discuss it with Microsoft properly. Camilla noted that Scalebound had progressed in a fair way before its cancellation, and it seems pointless for Microsoft just to hold on to that IP and not do anything with it. And then, in quotes again, he tweeted, Phil, let's do it together. And this was back in February.
Okay, well, your man Camille, or whatever his name is, he's quite interesting. So he was a director of Resident Evil 2 and Devil May Cry. So he done Bayonetta.
I think was very hacky slashy, like Devil May Cry, but with a dragon that assisted you, to be fair.
So he's done actually a lot of the good ones. Okami was him, Bayonetta 2. He done Scalebound, that was going to be him. But also Resident Evil 1 he was involved in Resident Evil 2, he was a director. So he's actually decent. So he did not touch your other one there. What was it saying there? What's that other game I just mentioned that was relaunched?
Babylon's Fall.
So he didn't do that. That's what I mean. It's obviously different people involved in it. That would be good. It would kind of be good because it's obviously a bit more of a Japanese published game on Sega, or developed game on Xbox. My head's away.
I think it could work. I think Xbox in 2023 are completely different Xbox 10 years ago.
Well, they had the likes of Lost Odyssey and all in the 360 year. They did kind of get in bed with Japanese developers, so that'd be nice to see, though, wouldn't it? It'd be good to see that revived. I'd be interested in it. Knowing they've done Devil May Cry, that's kind of things. Once you look at these people and what they've done in the past, you're thinking, oh, that's interesting to play out. Yeah. So that's on that. I don't think we'll have too much to add on because, to be honest, it was 2017. Off memory, like I did watch a few clips, but I was like, this is so far gone. I cannot remember much about it apart from a random E3 press conference. Have you anything else to add in, Ciaran and Bobby?
No.
Okay. Guys, so what we're going to do now is move on to listener questions. We have one. If you want to add in or send in any listener questions, send them to radiopod@gmail.com. And what we'll do is we'll go through them every week. We'll read them if it's good enough or it's not something silly. And what we'll do is we'll talk amongst ourselves. So moving on to this one. This one's from Drunk TJ Hooker. Hello guys, great work with the podcast so far. Couple of questions for you all. Firstly, which well-received and reviewed game do you think failed to live up to the hype around it? We'll actually break up in two parts. Secondly, which achievements or trophies, this is for you, Bobby, which achievements or trophies do you have on your list that you would rather remain hidden as they have either been too simple, such as my name is Mayo, or too pervy, such as the achievement, I swear I did it by mistake in Lollipop Chainsaw. Did you look at this Lollipop Chainsaw achievement?
He's got this.
I know what it is.
What is it? What is it?
It involves looking up the character's skirt.
That's a funny one. Interesting.
So I actually haven't got it because I haven't played Lollipop Chainsaw, but 100% would if I did play it.
Look up the skirt.
I'm looking forward. They're actually doing the remake. It was announced, so
I heard about that. Yeah, bit of a weird one.
So I'm looking forward. It looks cool. I think she's got like her boyfriend's zombie head or something attached to her waist. She's kind of talking and she's going around killing zombies. It looks cool.
The 360 PS3 era had some weird games. Remember the Killer Teddy Bear game as well?
Yeah.
Fuck me. There was another one, it was like something Afro, something, I don't know. I'm getting tired, you can tell. Okay, so Bobby, we'll start with you. Which well-reviewed game did you not like? One that reviewed well, but you didn't build into the hype?
So I thought about it and I couldn't really think off the top of my head of something that was well reviewed that I didn't like. So one I thought of would be Red Dead 2, which is a game that's obviously well reviewed and stuff, but I fell off of because of the gameplay. It was really boring and slow. And kind of hard to get into. It's just that standard Rockstar kind of gameplay. So that would probably be one for me.
That was next level. Like I remember opening doors, even playing recently. It's like, geez, it is slow. It's a very slow game. So
I think that's why I fell off it. But that would probably be, I can't think of anything else kind of well received that I just didn't like. So I'm not saying I don't like Red Dead, but I fell off it because of that reason.
It's animations, mate. They're trying to make it too realistic, so the animations take so long to play out. Why don't you stop opening doors and stuff and just opening all the things and looking? That game is fantastic. You would love it. But yeah, like that's actually one I could see what you mean. But it's kind of hard when you think about it. Ciaran, have you anything to put in?
Just probably on that, it would be GTA, just off the back of what Bobby said there. I think GTA is a game that always gets received well, always one that I go, and then I go, nah, it's just not for me. for all
Really?
the hype. Even like I've always tried to play the GTA games. I'll go out and buy them, and within about an hour, just go, "No, it's not for me."
I know, I love GTA.
Yeah,
I even tried it there last month. So I bought it again. Put it on for an hour. Done the online bit of it. Done, and then it was just like,
yeah, the online's rough. Like, to be honest with you, it is quite rough to get into. Story's really good in 5 though. The dive's fantastic.
Yeah, really good.
Mine, without kind of taking too long on this, mine's will be this year. Elden Ring. Elden Ring, well received. Everyone loving it. Has nothing on Dark Souls. The reason being, like, Elden Ring is, it's like baby's first Dark Souls. It's a lot of open areas. You can run and go where you want. The problem that I would have with it is the best part of it is the legacy dungeons, which would just be Dark Souls areas. So you get 4 of them, I believe. Is that right, Bobby? 4 main legacy dungeons. 4 or 5. You don't get very much. They are, they're well crafted. So basically, they are loads of thought into them. They're basically Dark Souls areas that you would go through. But I just didn't care for the open world. And I did maybe burn myself out. Me and Bobby talked about this. Like I said, I don't like just kind of doing my own thing. I like having a structure. So I ended up getting up a map and it was telling me these little dungeons to go throughout the map. But a lot of those dungeons are similar to what there was in Bloodborne, where you have something called chalice dungeons. It's just like kind of remodeled enemies, remodeled dungeons. I done them all and I burnt myself out. I enjoyed the game when I was doing the main dungeons, which is what I'm talking about, the Dark Souls zones. But apart from that, I just honestly believe, I just don't get why people are saying this is one of the best games ever created, and I'm sitting looking at Dark Souls 1 down in the corner thinking, what are you guys talking about? I just don't get it. I do not understand it. Dark Souls 1 is perfection. It was probably, if I was to rate them, Dark Souls 1, Sekiro, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2, and then Elden Ring would be last, and then Demon Souls. Maybe Elden Ring above Dark Souls 2. But that would be on me. And what about achievements, guys? Any weird achievements you've got?
Ciaran?
There is one in Guitar Hero 3. I'm actually just trying to get the name of it now, where you feel a song when you're 95% or more through the song.
Okay.
So you've played the song, you're loving life, and then you get to the last 5% and you absolutely flop the song.
Bottle it.
And it's actually embarrassing because I never played the game any higher than normal difficulty.
What about you, Bobby? Surely a man with your fucking trophy list has some.
I reckon I probably have close to over 50 games anyway that I've played just for achievements or trophies.
I thought you loved Bobby's Dream House. I thought that was something that you really wanted to get for it.
He mentioned My Name is Mayo, which I've beat My Name is Mayo 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, wow.
And you literally have to tap the button, the X button or the touchpad 10,000 times.
They're all getting removed from PlayStation, aren't they? Those type of games?
There's word about it, but I don't know if whether they will or not. There's them ones. I've beat all them there. There's a lot of ones called ZJ the Ball.
Right.
Which is like a minute or 2 minute platinum.
On
Xbox and Windows. It's kind of like a cheat. You can play them both and get double the achievements. So there's ones called like Butterfly, Butterfly 2, and Synchro Hedgehogs. I've done all of them.
So you're a man who brags about the games that you beat, and your trophy list, but for all we know, they're filled with fucking Mayo and Windows.
No, I do beat a lot of proper games to get a lot of proper platinums and stuff, but there is a lot. If I see one that'll take me over, there's like a 5 minute 1000G or 5000G in 20 minutes, I'll get it.
Fair play to you. Look, you're the only actual person I know that does trophies and achievements. I know a few podcasts I listen to love them. Fair play to you. So I think see getting achievements, mate. I just see what it's like, play the game again. I'm like, fuck off, no chance.
It's addictive because I find myself now, before I even play a game, I'll be looking at the trophy list or the achievement list.
I know it is like, fair play to you though.
It's kind of ruined. It's ruined in a way. It's ruined me in a way. Like,
were you doing that from launch of like the 360? Or
I only really started doing it properly maybe a couple of years ago.
Interesting.
But it's ruined me because I can't even play PC properly because I don't like Steam achievements, so I won't play stuff on Steam.
Yeah, I know you always yap about
things like that. So yeah, so it is annoying.
Sounds it. I was thinking about me, and I searched this. This is not a trophy, but I thought it actually might be on. Maybe it's on PlayStation, but if it was on PlayStation, it'd be on Xbox. On Metal Gear Solid 2, there is, when you go to the rooftop, there's pigeons that shit in the floor and you can slip on it. And I believe you can shoot the pigeons. And I think you can get a trophy from that. If you can't, I've been shooting pigeons anyway, just to kind of put it out there. But I believe that was only a trophy that I could remember, and I don't even think it was a trophy. All I know is I like murdering pigeons and fucking Metal Gear.
It sounds like it probably could be a trophy, to be honest.
It would make sense as a trophy. But that Lollipop Chainsaw one's fantastic. It's a great one.
No doubt they'll put it in again. They'll have to.
Why don't you, drunk TJ Hooger, tell us about your story, and what I'll do is I'll read it on the next week's episode. Apart from that, guys, that is a wrap. That is a long-ass podcast for us on our third episode. Before we wrap up, what we'll just do is kind of go through each other's handles and kind of things like that. But like I just said, if you want to send in a question, readyuppod@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on TikTok, where we post our weekly clips, plus ones that we started making, at readyuppod. Same as YouTube. You can follow us each. You can follow me on Lethal Plays at TikTok. I don't really post that much. I'm all in kind of ready up now. You can follow Bobby at... Take it away, Bobby.
Axo Boom on Twitter and Professor Boom X0 on TikTok.
And Ciaran?
Mine's is AceViper4455 across all the channels.
You can see a lovely video we made with Gandalf. Clip with me as Gandalf.
My only TikTok.
Bye, folks. See you next week. Take care. Bye now.